Hey, everybody. Welcome back to a very, very special edition of Comedy Pinata. Going solo. First off, just want to rattle off our sponsor. As usual, did you know car repossession is on the rise? Do you know you also have every right to stop a repo guy from taking your car? Consumers have broad rights to stop a car repossession from happening, and that is where the law firm at Sue the Collector can help you. If your car is about to be repossessed or your car was repossessed and you verbally told them to stop, leave your car alone, you were physically hurt or injured by the repo agent, or they took the wrong car altogether, you may have a case. The attorneys at Sue the Collector specialize in wrongful car repossession, can help you or your loved one. If you or your loved one were injured, lost valuables, or wrongfully had your car repossessed, call us now, 1-877-BAD-REPO, 1-877-BAD-REPO. Again, one last time, 1-877-BAD-REPO. So that's it. Okay, so first off, just want to come back and got to get this out of the way. Thank you, everybody, for sticking with us, for tuning in, for subscribing, for watching, being faithful to us. I definitely appreciate it. Just to let you know, these last few weeks have been a little tumultuous with hiccups. We've had some issues behind the scenes that have caused, just basically a lack of consistency on our end here. And I have nobody to blame but myself, but I'm letting you guys know that we're getting everything back on track and discovering things that'll help facilitate the show and make it better. So just this weird transition moment where, we've had episodes delayed or episodes haven't gone up. Social clips haven't been going up as is the norm, and that's just, things going on behind the scenes. So we're getting all that situated, clarified, and I just want to take a moment and say thank you to everybody for still sticking with us and hanging in there and just dealing with the inconsistencies. So on behalf of that, I definitely apologize to everybody and just want to tell you that this is a big priority in my professional career, and I take a lot of pride in this show and want to make sure it's one of the best comedy podcasts out there, and that's always been the goal. And I think we'll get there, but it's definitely a learning curve. So that being said, thank you. Marching into the new year, going to have some great episodes, and I think that this one is very special to me because I thought I'd like to do this one solo and announce to you guys that this Friday, December 2nd, my 5th hour special will come out. It's called The Last Late Night, and you are getting to see you're the first to see the trailer for the special. We're going to show that at the very end. And I thought what could be interesting is I picked certain bits from each of my last 4 specials for a specific reason, and I was going to break them down for you and tell you why I chose them and what they mean to me. But that being said, I just want to let you know that the special you're going to see this Friday, hopefully, it's on Amazon Prime, so it's free if you're a Prime member. If you're not, rent it. I'm sure it can't be that much. But to give you the backbone of this will be a talk show, but I'm the only one on the talk show. The credits start off like a talk show. The set looks like a talk show. I'm the only one on the talk show, so why a talk show format? If you really think about a talk show format, it is 3 styles of writing. Every talk show starts off with topical monologue jokes, and then you go to panel, which is storytelling. You sit at a desk, and the producers on any of those talk shows say, do you have any funny stories to tell? They sit there, they work on it, mold it with you. And then you have traditional stand-up that's done at the very end of the show by a popular comic, standing next to the band, doing stand-up. So I thought 3 styles of writing, 20 minutes monologue, 20 minutes panel, 20 minutes of traditional stand-up, 2, 4, 6. That all makes 1 hour. And we even have commercial breaks in this between Act 1 and Act 2 and Act 2 and Act 3. And the commercial breaks are going to be kind of like 3 to 4 window-paned crowd work. So I did crowd work in it and used that as our commercial break. And I just think in this day and age where so many hour specials are done, they're all kind of cookie cutter and they look the same. Somebody in front of a curtain pontificating for an hour, and there's no real tethering of it. It just kind of like, it's just random thoughts. And I thought, why not do it under like the the construction of a late night talk show, but have a theme. So all these jokes are leading you to a point at the end. They're there for a reason. Some of them got cut out by Amazon Prime, which I was not happy about. But that's the day and age we live in, where they have a business to protect and an entity to protect, and I totally get that. And so I do have them, so I'll post them at some point. So you will see those. But I also want to say that, on a personal level, I didn't plan on saying this, but on a personal level, how did the genesis of a late night talk show be introduced into the fold? For me personally, I had a sitcom called Sullivan's Son that ran for 3 seasons on TBS, and during that duration of time, we couldn't get any press on it. We couldn't get any late night talk shows to have me on. I was the second Asian American sitcom on television. Couldn't get anybody to have me on as a guest. I did one appearance in 3 seasons, and that was on Conan on TBS because, and what I found out is that they kind of forced him to have me on, and they didn't have anybody else on from our show. And we had a ton of great talent on our show. So there was some, there was definitely a chip on my shoulder going through that experience of being like, we have the second Asian sitcom ever on television after Margaret Cho's All-American Girl, and there isn't one late night talk show that will let us showcase or promote this show. I felt really, to be blunt, I was just pissed. And then I had a feature film come out during pandemic called The Opening Act, starring Jimmy O. Yang, Alex Moffat, Cedric the Entertainer, Bill Burr, Tom Segura, Neil Brennan, Russell Peters, Roy Wood Jr., Whitney Cummings, Eliza Schlesinger, Angela Johnson, Kathleen Madigan, Felipe Esparza. I mean, you go down the line. There's so many talented comics in this film. And again, this film came out during pandemic. And again, I couldn't get one late night talk show to have me on as a comedian, writer, director to promote this. And that was it. That's what really kind of set me off. I try not to take things personally, but I just didn't understand it. So I thought, well, if none of these fuckers will have me on, then I'm just going to make my own late night talk show. And that's where this all came from. That's how this was generated. So I did it. And I also think that the late night talk show is, as much as I loved doing them back in the day, they're an antiquated form of entertainment. The variety show was popular in the 60s or 70s, and they fell by the wayside in the 80s and 90s, and they've tried to reboot them many times, and it's never worked. And the late night talk show, I feel, is not as communal as it used to be, and I feel that they are becoming more and more insignificant as time goes on because kids are watching TikTok and on YouTube, and my kids are, and they don't know who or what The Tonight Show is anymore, which is somewhat of a travesty to me. But this was my way of kissing the ring and paying respect to Carson, Dangerfield, Bob Hope, Dean Martin. These are all people I watched in preparation for this, so much so that I had to stop watching them because I was starting to imitate them. So anyways, the last late night will come out Friday, December 2nd on Amazon Prime, free for Prime members. Obviously, you have to rent it if you're not. And I'm very excited about this. It's the best work I've ever done. It took a lot of effort. It was 5 years in the making. The first time I pitched it, everybody said no, and I just believed in the concept and I didn't give in. I said, well, this is great. It's going to work. I just need somebody to believe in it besides me. So for another 3 years, I just kept working on it, and then finally the 4th year, I pitched it again to a new round of executives, and Ryan Perazzi over at Amazon got it, understood it, and said, absolutely, let's do this. So I got to thank Ryan for believing in me. I got to thank Amazon Prime for taking it on and giving us the real estate to showcase something unique and different in the comedy space. And hopefully you guys can check it out, and hopefully you can spread the word too, because I need all the help I can get. So I appreciate it. With that being said, let's go into, this is a clip from my first hour special, this from Happy Hour. And I chose this for a reason, of which I'll tell you in a minute. But this is from my very first hour. My first hour, I believe, was done in 2006, Happy Hour. I've been working for years in New York City, 3 years into Los Angeles, and this was my first hour. And some of these bits were done on my half-hour Comedy Central Presents, but at the time I didn't have much more else. But we're gonna watch this. This is called this is called Mac and Cheese. Here we go.
Now this is a very hot show. It's such a hot show. I'm gonna go home after a hot show like this and give myself a treat, a reward. What would that be? Well, I'll tell you, camera. A bowl of macaroni and cheese. Yes. I love it. My favorite part of the meal, not even eating it, preparing it. Do this the next time you bowl. Take a spoon, dip it in your pasta, stir it. Here's the trick, don't eat it. Listen. You'll appreciate it that much more when you do eat it. Tease yourself. Take a spoon, just dip it in it. Ooh. I gotta stop. I get very hungry when I hear that. I think everybody likes macaroni and cheese. I'll tell you who loves it. My next door neighbor in my apartment building. This woman, she had a bowl the other night at 1 a.m. for an hour and 17 god-awful minutes. I know, because I had my ear up against the wall. And all night long, all I hear.
So good. Eat it.
I ran next door. I was like,
Hey, don't eat so fast. You're gonna choke. I think most of you got that joke. There's still some confused faces like, what's so funny about pasta? Joke is not about pasta. I love that noise. I wish that noise was my ringtone. That's how much I love that noise. It's hanging out. Hey, everybody. Hello? Hi, Grandma. How are you?
all right. Well, that's mac and cheese. The reason I put that in there is that it was one of the first jokes I took where something actually happened. We used to tease a friend of mine, Jason Dallas, back in college. And we would, obviously college kids, we'd make mac and cheese and stir it, just like so many viral videos on TikTok, insinuating, eat a girl out, basically. And we used to tease him. And when I was starting to do stand-up, that was one of the first things I took from my real life and instituted it into stand-up and did it. And it became like this signature bit for me for years. I just, if I was bombing, if things weren't going well, I knew I had that ace up the sleeve of mac and cheese and I could do it. And it always crushed. It always did well for me. It got me through the Comedy Cellar for many, many years. And I remember doing that joke, and I think it was Greg Giraldo who told me, in just a few years, you won't even do that joke anymore. I'm like, no, that joke crushes so hard. I'm always going to do it. He's like, you'll see. And he was totally right. It just, I was so young and eager and stupid that I didn't realize that yeah, you got to write more. You got to produce more. And that was a joke that fell by the wayside. And even to this day, I go out and tour and people ask me, can you do mac and cheese? And I'm like, I don't even know how it goes anymore. And after watching it, I'm glad I don't know how it goes anymore, because it serviced a kid in his mid to late 20s, and that was good at the time. But if I did it now at 48 years old, I'd just come off as a creepy old fuck. So I'm not going to do that joke anymore. Raised it to the rafters. It's retired. It's done. And even watching it now, I'm like, slow down. Just take your time. I'm watching the pacing of it, and it's just it's too quick. Anyways, that's mac and cheese. That was a bit that I did, I loved, and this is one of the worst things a comic could hear, especially about a bit like that. But I had my mom on, I think, this podcast recently, and I asked her what her favorite bit was. She said mac and cheese, and I was like, fuck. That's like the last thing you want to think about is your mom appreciating or understanding that joke. I always hope she does. She could potentially not know what that joke is, so I'm just going to put that in my head. It's like when I watch Finding Neverland, it's like, this didn't happen. There's no way it happened. So I'm pretending my mom doesn't know. I think she thinks it's about mac and cheese. So anyways, that's from Happy Hour. And all these hours are available out there, streaming, whatever. But that was my first one, and there's parts of it I watch and I cringe, and we'll get to that later. But This is one of the bits where at the time I was really proud of it. Looking back at it now, it's like I would never do that joke again. So that's from Happy Hour. Let's move on to this next one is the Burn Identity. And I chose this one for a very specific reason. So let's watch this clip from Burn Identity, my second special. This came out, I believe this came out 2 years after Happy Hour. And when I was getting ready to film this, one of the producers said there's no way he's ready to do another hour. Absolutely not. It's just impossible. And I would agree with him, given the material he saw, but then he saw me basically in a club. He said, "Oh, okay." So that goes into what I'm about to talk to you here in a second. So Burn Identity, here we go.
What's a stereotype for Asians? Asians are good at math, right? No, that's a fact. Asians are incredible at math. Why are Asians good at math? Got nothing to do with math. Got everything to do with linguistics, language, okay? Asians make it easier to learn how to count. Japan, Korea, China, whatever. 1 through 10, then 10 plus the number, 20 plus the number, 30 plus the number. It's easy. Here, a kid is 4 or 5, they're a year behind the kids in Asia, and it gets worse and worse as you get older. That's why we stink, because we make it so hard to count. You learn 1 through 10, then you teach a kid, all right, what do I do now? We get into the teens. Okay, what do I do? Just number plus teen. Okay. 1 teen? Wow, no, not even close. That's 11. Oh, okay. 2 teen? Jeez. 12. Oof. 3 teen? Close. 13. 14? Yes. All right. All right. Okay. Okay. 5 teen? Wrong again. I'm 4!
All right. So the reason I chose this one is that I knew after Happy Hour I'd have to work a lot harder, even on my wardrobe. I mean, if you go back to that Happy Hour clip, the wardrobe looks like it's my first communion. It's oversized, it's bulky. I look like I'm wearing a suit, but it doesn't fit me at all. This second clip, like I went out to a tailor and got a proper suit done, so I look like I'm prepared to be on television, as opposed to that first one. And after that first one was done, I was like, well, I need to really discover who I am, what my voice is. And the first special came out, and it did well. It was serviceable, right? I was able to tour off it. I was doing really well, ticket sales. But all the jokes were mac and cheese, hearing people having sex in a hotel room, Bruce Lee kung fu porno, just all like, it was really about dating and sex. And it was just basically like a young guy out on the road trying to meet girls and get laid. I mean, that's really what what the hour was, right? And so this next one, I was like, well, I don't want to keep being that guy. I want to dig deeper. I want to discover my voice. And I knew that was a big goal for me. So that's why it's called the Burn Identity. I was exploring being Korean and Irish. I was exploring, Asia culture, American culture, infusing them both. I had taken a trip to China, and I was like, I'm not going to let this experience go by the wayside, so maximize it, make the most of it. And at the time, I was living downtown Los Angeles, and I lived right by the library, so I would force myself every single day to go to the library for 2 or 3 hours and just write. And this bit about math was one of the first bits I wrote where everything kind of clicked. And it was from Malcolm Gladwell's book. I believe it was it was about, the 10,000 hour book. So I think it was Tipping Point. And I read that, and there was a chapter on why Asians are good at math. And so I basically took what was in that book and disseminated it and tried to make it humorous. And this was the first bit where I thought, oh, wow, I can do this. Like, it's not about, getting on all fours and doing doggy style jokes or, ramming my head into a headboard. I can be a little deeper and talk about something that even I didn't even know, and educate myself and entertain people and feel enlightened along the way. So that's what I was trying to accomplish with this next one. And I felt like, okay, it all kind of clicked with this bit. And this bit was the first bit I wrote where I thought, I'm able to do this. I gave myself tailwinds and I had more confidence, and it became the backbone of the rest of the special. Now, do I still get immature towards the end? You better fucking believe it. I did Sausage Party at the end of this special and created a boy band, and that bit has been with me for years and still love doing it because you never know what's going to come of it. But this bit I was very, very proud of. This was the first bit I felt like, wow, I really wrote something kind of cool. But the one thing I will say is that it doesn't have an ending. It just kind of goes and it peters off. And I wish I could go back and conclude it. But, you know, for the time being, at the time it came out, very proud of it. So that's from Burn Identity. Now we're going to go to another one called Champion. Champion was my 3rd-hour special. This one, even the bit, I'm sure it'll come up here in a second. I'll remember it. But this one came out, I think, maybe 2 years after that one. And again, I did the same thing. I just forced myself to write, dig deeper. Let's start to explore some space here. I will say Champion, not only does it, I always loved the Elvis 68 comeback special, even as a kid growing up, and I always wanted the burn in lights like Elvis did when he did the If I Can Dream. And on my Comedy Central Presents, they did it, but it looked shitty. So with this one, they did it, and it looked fucking great. But I will say that this special it looks darker. I wish I knew more about production at the time. The set's really dark. The audience wasn't lit. It's just kind of like, it's like I'm performing in front of a black pit. And I performed at a theater in New York City, and it was packed. So I'm bummed that we didn't maximize the aesthetic of that. But that being said, this special was good. It got dark. I went to some really dark places with it. But this is one of the bits where I again wrote this. I was really proud of the bit at the time. And even now, this is a bit, well, let's watch it. Here we go.
Here's why I love white women, soccer moms. Now, I think if soccer moms take over
this
all
isn't the
professional
bit, but-
sports, you don't have the problems we're having in sports. No lockouts, no strikes, no data, no numbers, and certainly no Super Bowl. Because we all know that the Seahawks, the Steelers, they are just as good as the Browns or the Dolphins. Why? They all tried. They're all special. Give them all a trophy. Don't give a kid a trophy that didn't earn it. When you do that, you're lying to the kid. Being a kid is tough enough. As you grow older, you're going to learn that life is one lie after another lie after another lie. What's the first lie most of us ever heard? Santa. Santa Claus coming. No, it's not. What? Santa Claus, your parents. What the hell did you just say to me? Well, that's cool. Get a basket of chocolate soon from Bunny, so... No, you're not. Lost my tooth, gonna put it in my... No. What's cool? I'm older now anyways. I'm gonna watch some professional wrestling. What's cool? I'm older now anyways. I'm into girls. Oh my God, her tits are huge. Finally with a girl. Ugh. Oh my God, I can't believe we came at the same time. Of course we did. You're so strong.
I think that's it. So I didn't think it was, but that's the bit. Yeah. So this bit I'm still proud of. I think it's a bit that holds up. I would tweak it. I'd make it a little cleaner. It's a little. The setup's not great. The setup's there, but there's no punch to the setup. There's no laugh to the setup. It gets kind of a laugh. But it's a joke. I would have a stronger open for it for sure. But once you get into the bit is solid. I'm really proud of that bit. And again, I think every special, there's a bit you do where that's the beginning of it. I remember watching this documentary From the Sky Down about U2, and they were coming off a Rattle and Hum and Joshua Tree, and they couldn't get it. No matter how hard they're working, they're trying, they're busting their ass. It's not working. And during a sound check or during just goofing off, the Edge starts playing with this chorus, And in the doc, they have the recording of it, and you can hear the beginning of one. And the one starts playing, and then Bono says, keep doing that, and he starts harmonizing. He's just gibberish. He's not even saying words. He's literally creating the chorus of the song along with the melody. And that was the beginning of Achtung Baby. And I thought, that's when I think about going through these bits last night, that's what I was thinking about. There are jokes that started it for me, and this joke started Champion for me. And again, talking about lying, deceit, whatever, that spiraled into me talking about AIDS and monkeys for some reason. And this special was a little rough around the edges. I think the pendulum I took was going to places that are a bit darker for me. And in retrospect, learning that's not me, that's not my voice, that's not on brand. But I think you have to go there to discover where you really are. And at the time, I was trying to push boundaries a lot further than needed. So that was Champion, and with Champion, I learned a lot from it, and thought I got to bring it back in a bit more and get centered. And I was going through a lot of life changes with this next special, Tell the Damn Joke, which is my fourth. So Tell the Damn Joke comes out, and I'm a father, I'm a husband, I got kids, and I never wanted to turn into the guy that just I'm going to be clean and talk about my kids. Like, fuck that. I just didn't want to do it. So I still want to have an edge and be a comic, but address the things that are happening in my life that are changing. And so I did. So we have two clips actually from this special. We're going to watch this first one, and it's here for a reason. And I'll explain it. I'm not going to say anything, but this is the spoken word one, right? Okay, so we're going to watch this one first. So here we go. This was the closer, the closing bit of it. Yeah.
This is the last lesson I want to tell my kids. As I've gotten older and now being a father, I definitely want to do a good enough job along with my wife to one day think we could look at our kids and
I forgot this was in
sorry.
here.
Don't.
Oh boy.
2 seconds ago it's I want to do a good enough job that we can look at our kids and say, I'm proud of them. But I think that should be reciprocal. I think at some point you should be doing a good enough job that your kids are proud of you in turn. And if that's to happen, I think your kids need to know the character of their parents. So speaking for me, just simply put, I would let my kids know I am Steve Byrne. I am Korean and Irish. I am a boxer brief size medium.
Call back.
I am revolution. I am civil. I am July 4th. I am December 7th. I am September 11th. I'm slavery. I'm emancipation. I'm cotton and tobacco. I'm McDonald's and Starbucks. I'm Harriet Tubman. I'm Cesar Chavez. I'm Edison and Ford. I'm Gates and Jobs. I'm Elvis. I'm Hendrix. I'm Dean Martin. I am Bruce Lee. I'm on a train. I'm on a plane. I'm on the moon. I'm surfing the web. I'm uptown. I'm downtown. And I am Motown. I'm a blue state. I'm a red state. I am gay. I am straight. I'm a Jew. I'm a Muslim. I'm a Christian. I am black. I am white. I am brown. I am Latin. I am Asian. I am the founding fathers. I am the greatest generation. I'm Generation X, and I'm the millennials. I'm all these things because all these things are America, and I am an American, and I'm proud to be an American, and I hope one day my children will be too. And with that, I will say thank you.
All right. So there we go. So that is an example of me. I was trying to take on and express a message that I don't think I had the maturity to pull off at the time. I did it in the best way I knew how. My son literally was born just like a month or two before I taped the special. So when I was talking about my kids, I got choked up in the moment because it was all still fresh to me, and I was I was thinking of my son. So, in retrospect, I probably would have taken that out. I would have not left that in the edit. But at the time, I thought, and I also think this too. When you tape a special, you don't want it to be perfect. There are hiccups that happen. There are moments that happen, and maybe in another few years, I'll appreciate keeping it in. But right now, it kind of makes me cringe. But anyways, that was a message I was kind of delivering to my son, who I didn't know yet, who has just been born. And I was, the last part of the whole hour was all these lessons I want to instill upon my children obviously in a funny way. I also kind of pussied out at the end of this because the whole thing goes, and then the tag at the end says, "By the way, for the record, I'm not gay," and it always got a laugh. And I just thought, this is going so well, and I felt at the time like this is going really well. Don't sully it. Just let the message lie. But in retrospect, as a comedian and it being a comedy special, yeah, you want to end on a laugh, you dipshit. So definitely say the line. And I didn't. I pushed out on it, and I thought I did what was right at the time. And looking back on it now, that's a regret I have about this. But I also showed this to you because it's me trying to execute something that I didn't have the capability of doing at the time. I wasn't experienced enough, or I just didn't have. I didn't have it within me to pull off exactly what I was trying to communicate. It's there for sure, but as a comedian in a comedy hour, would I have done it with music? No. Would I have done it in a different way? Absolutely. Would I have made it funnier? 100%. But I think to me, it's a little too saccharine. It's a little too sweet. It's a little too genuine. It's a little too earnest. The message is there, but I just didn't land the dismount correctly. And the reason I showed this to you is because in my new hour, I felt like I did finally execute that message in a comedic way, the right way. So you'll see this, and then when you watch the new hour, you'll understand what I'm communicating here. So I think even somebody who at the time had been doing it for 20 years, I think I was taking on a task that was bigger than my capabilities. And it wasn't until after seeing it in retrospect, I knew, okay, this is what you got to do to get this right. And hopefully I'll get it right. Hopefully I did it right. And hopefully 5 years from now, I'm watching, tell the new one, The Last Late Night, and I'm able to say, there we go. I did it. But I'll always find something wrong. So, okay, we have another clip to watch here. And this is from the same special, Tell the Damn Joke. So let's watch this one.
It took me 4 decades on this planet to realize what a woman means when she says, "I have nothing to wear tonight." I can never relate to that. I have nothing to wear tonight. My wife, she'll walk into her closet, not ours. Not mine. I get a dresser. Okay? She walks in her closet, no. I got nothing. I've got nothing to wear tonight. Yeah, me either, because my good shit's on the bottom drawer and it won't open because it's from IKEA. Got nothing to wear tonight. I never knew what that meant till the other day I was sitting at home, flipping through my high-def channels. Action, sci-fis, thrillers, dramas, documentaries, romance, westerns. Apple TV, we got on iTunes. We got Scorsese collection, Spielberg collection, Hitchcock collection. All the Star Wars, all the Star Treks, all the Harry Potters, all the Fast and Furious, all the Jurassic Parks, all the Indiana Jones, all the X-Men's, all the Batmans, all the Supermans, all the Avengers, all the Captain Americas, Thors, Iron Mans, Hulks, all the... There's nothing to watch. I'm not exercising. Is everybody outside? They're all in the backyard. They're playing. They're having fun, right? I'm gonna jerk off. It's on this laptop. What do we got here? Amateur, anal, blonde, brunette, redhead, cum shot, glasses, cougar, granny, MILF, cheerleader, teen, interracial. Just say black. Who are we kidding? Saw it, seen it, saw it. Saw it, seen it, saw it. There's nothing to jerk off to? Guess I'll spend time with my family.
All right. That is a clip. That's a joke that the one regret I have about this is that it aired on Showtime. That bit where I talk about all the things you could watch, so much longer. That's why that payoff is so strong at the end. But they probably cut out another 45 seconds of that bit, no joke, me rattling off all the different streamers, because Showtime didn't want me to announce any of their competitive streamers in the space. Like, somebody's going to hear that and go, oh, you know what? Fuck this. Let me go watch Netflix. But then again, if they're watching the special, maybe they would think that. But anyways, that's one of those bits I saw where you're seeing something that I was trying to execute in the last one that I don't feel I pulled off. This was a joke, I feel, where it's a dense bit. There's a lot there. I like the premise of it. I have nothing to wear, and applying that, what a woman feels, I have nothing to wear, to what a guy would think, and then going even deeper with porn, which is where most of my jokes end up at some point. But that's the bit where I feel like, okay, that one was like a Herculean task for me to execute and figure out, and that was the bit for that special where I was like, okay, I've got it right. I figured it out. And I thought the dismount would be as strong as anything else in there, and it just didn't land. And in this day and age where everything's so politically divisive, I don't think there's a lot of people that would agree with that, like a centrist perspective. So anyways, that was a walkthrough. The last 4 specials: Happy Hour, The Burn Identity, Champion, and Tell the Damn Joke. So that leads us to this next one. Now, this is by the time this airs, I will have had the trailer for the new special. So this is the rough. You're going to see the digital tracking, the time code on it. So you're the first to see it. This isn't going to be released until Tuesday, tomorrow. But because you guys are so cool and so dedicated and appreciative of Comedy Pinata, we're going to show you the first trailer for The Last Late Night. Again, a late night talk show as disguised as a stand-up comedy special. So let's check this out. I think I've seen this twice. So here's the trailer, The Last Late Night, December 2nd, Amazon Prime.
And everybody's getting woke because they didn't want to get canceled, right? You got country music artists changing their names out of respect. For example, Lady Antebellum, no longer, it is Lady A. The Dixie Chicks are just the Chicks. Even Alabama now, Vermont. Joe Biden had a press conference the other day. He was asked what he thinks of Antifa. He said, you know, I'm just glad she's off the pancake box, to be honest with you. Kim Jong-un recently achieved the highest rank in the North Korean army, 5'6". A Hunger Games theme park recently opened in South Korea. It's called North Korea. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, very much for coming out to The Last Late Night, everybody!
So there you go. That was your sneak peek preview of The Last Late Night. As you saw, we showcased a lot of the monologue jokes. They're quick. The panel and the stand-up, it's just long setups. So either you take one bit from one of those and make that your trailer, or quick hits and then show an example. So we're just trying to show you, it's a trailer. I think you got it. You'd have to be a fucking buffoon not to understand what the fuck that is. So hopefully you guys can tune in and check it out. I'm really, really proud of this one. And you can see the Dean Martin influence. I got the tuxedo in there. I lost a lot of weight. Put it back on. And yeah, super pumped about this one. I think this is just, it's the best work I've done. It's the most proud of anything I've done. I got to have my buddy Neil Kane along board. Neil Kane has played bass with Harry Connick for the last 20 years. He got a trio of guys that play in that band to come out and be our late night talk show band. Gary Cannon did the warm up. He is part of one of the commercial breaks where he just fucking shits on me to a degree where it's so bad for me, but you have to acknowledge how goddamn funny it is. So he's in the other commercial break, and just a lot of hard work went into this. I have to acknowledge the fact that Argus Hamilton helped me out immensely with the first act monologue jokes. When I first came up with the concept, I thought, well, you got to do monologue one-liners. That's not my specialty. And over the years, these last 5 years, I've gotten so much better at it. But Argus, at the time, at one period of time, had the record for most Tonight Show appearances. I thought, if I'm going to go to anybody and get a little help, it's got to be the best. And Argus certainly is that. A mainstay at the Comedy Store in Los Angeles, a legend in my mind, and somebody I have an immense sense of gratitude for. And if you want to hear great cocaine stories about the 80s and how crazy things got, you just talk to Argus or listen to him. He's been on quite a few podcasts. He's one of the most entertaining, true-blooded, raw comics. To this day, I love him. So I got to thank Argus. I got to thank, Brian Volkweiss for taking me on. To be honest with you, a lot of people didn't get this concept. Even when I explained it to them, even people that came to the taping, I'd explain it to them. And I heard, the one note I heard repeatedly was, you always explain it to me, but I didn't understand it until I saw it. And that's something I kept hearing. So hopefully this trailer helps that. But when I was going out and pitching this, I'm not lying when I say I got turned down by everybody. Everybody said no. They were just like, it sounds like a gimmick. No, you're not going to. And then Brian Volkweiss believed in it. Ryan Brazzi over at Amazon believed in it. I certainly did. Neil Kane did. And a lot of people behind the scenes. So I just can't thank those people enough. But the one person I really got to thank, especially here, is Joe Gatto. Joe Gatto directed it. Joe Gatto, obviously you guys know him from Practical Jokers. I've gotten to know him quite a bit. We've known each other for years, and I went on tour with them, but we've been working on the Two Cool Moms podcast together, and he came in and directed it. I think it's funny how in this day and age so many comedians say, oh, I got so-and-so directing my special, or so-and-so's directing your special. It's like, to be honest with, like, it's not a big deal. It's like the cameras are on sticks, and there's nothing really to direct, to be honest with you. You direct a scene, you direct a feature, you direct narrative, but when you're directing a comedy special, you're just putting the cameras in locked positions and kind of going back and forth. This one was tricky because there was an actual concept behind it. It is a talk show. So you do need a director with vision. You need a director that understands aesthetics, that understands transition, that understands what we're trying to accomplish with commercial breaks, that has some sense of creativity that's going to contribute to this special. So I'm not knocking other comics that are directing specials. I'm just saying it's not all that difficult to do one. This one was a bit more challenging. And so for that, I'm just acknowledging and also saying I appreciate what Joe Gatto did and brought to the table on this. He's been an immense partner and somebody I would trust with not only my hour special, but my career. The guy is that good. So that being said, I got to thank my family, but if I thank anybody, it's you guys. You guys have been with me all these years. Thank you for tuning in, coming out, seeing me live, supporting me, all the kind messages I receive online. For some reason, these last few months, I don't know what it is, but careers go in ebbs and flows, right? You have your high points, you have your low points. I've had peaks, I've had valleys. The last few years, I've been in the darkest valley I've been in my career. For sure. It's been tumultuous to the point where I literally thought of quitting comedy. It got that bad. And it was seriously on the table. And I thought I got one more special in me, and this is the way I'd want to do it, and I got to accomplish it. And I feel like I really landed the dismount this time. I've always had good specials, but I never had a hit, and I felt like this gives me the best position to be in to execute that. So I thank you guys for that. And again, the last few months, more so than any time in my life, I've had people coming up to me at the airport, in restaurants, at Disney, wherever I'm at with my kids, my family, by myself, eating by myself. Where have you been? I love your stand-up. You know, you got anything else coming out soon? For some reason, it's just been happening, and more so than at any other moment in time other than maybe 5 or 6 years ago when I was on Sullivan's Son. So to the folks that still remember me and appreciate my stand-up, I appreciate it. I can't thank you enough. A lot of gratitude your way, and I really hope you tune in for this next one, because if you liked the stuff I had in the past, I think you're going to love this one. So I thank you guys again for tuning in, checking out. This is the last thing I'll say, because I know Taylor's probably like waiting to dip out, but I have to say this. Every single late night talk show, every single political satirical show, go down the line. The Tonight Show, The Late Show, The Late Late Show, Jimmy Kimmel, Daily Show, John Oliver, they all skew left. Not only do they skew left, they skew pretty hard left. And as a comic, as someone who has gotten shit from my own community, I really feel like there is a void of jokes not being serviced to the right. Now, when I say that, I'm not saying I'm strictly right. I am literally what I've been communicating all my career. I'm very centered. I'm a centrist. Some elections I lean left, some elections I lean right, but you can always find me in the center. And I thought if I get a late night talk show, I want to come out the left just as hard as the left comes at the right. And so there's a lot of jokes in here where I felt like I'm going to sucker punch and give some body blows to these guys as much as the other side hasn't been serviced. Now, that being said, I do have bits where I'm dumping on the right. So, this is one talk show where I feel like whether you're hard left or hard right, everybody can watch this and feel serviced at the end of it. And I can't believe that came out of my mouth. But it did. Everybody will feel satisfied coming out of this, because I'm an equal opportunity offender in this. And much to the message I put at the end, there is no HR in comedy. So I really, really go after everybody in it. And I hope that that can be appreciated, because as a comic, I feel we should be a little more punk rock and go after the establishment, not just one side. And for some reason, this last 15, 20 years, at least in my stand-up comedy career, I've seen everybody go after the right, and I just wished somebody would, and I feel like more and more that's happening, but I feel like this hour accomplishes that. And I think those are all the thoughts I had outlined for this episode. So I just want to say thank you guys again very much for sticking with me, for sticking with Comedy Pinata, for believing in this podcast. We will be back next week. We will have more fun episodes coming your way, and we will be more consistent with our execution of everything. So thank you guys very much for tuning in, and be sure to tell your friends and tune in. Amazon Prime this Friday, December 2nd, The Last Late Night. Check it out. Let me know what you think of it, and subscribe, rate, and review to this podcast. Till then, we'll see you next time, and Reno will be back with us. So, all right, thank you guys very much.